Hi, I'm Matt Weaver for Civitas. I'm here today in Commerce Township, Michigan to visit Brett Roberts, Superintendent at Edgewood Country Club. He's been using Civitas for a few years now, and we're here today to talk to him about his use of it on the fairways. So Brett, can you tell me a little bit about Edgewood Country Club and some of the agronomic challenges you face here?
Edgewood Country Club is an 18-hole private club. We've been here since 1928. Mostly POA, annual bluegrass, especially on greens. On tees and fairways, a little more bent, but still dominated by POA. And one of our biggest agronomic challenges is controlling the crown rod and anthracnose on that POA, especially in fairways. And that's what's kind of led us to looking at Civitas and using it here for a couple seasons.
Well, can you tell me a little bit more about why you started using Civitas then? I mean, in addition to having anthracnose as a tool, but what was the main reasons that you were looking at it?
No matter which fungicide we were using, we were not seeing very good control on it. And once we started testing with the Civitas, we saw an increased level of anthracnose control, especially for us during the difficult times of July, when all the stresses are put on the POA, the heat stress or drought stress or excessive traffic with the shallow roots that POA invariably has in the summer.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit more about the trial that you were doing here on your fairways. What were the rates, timing, intervals? How were you doing it?
Sure. The trials we were doing here at Edgewood were basically going out every 21 days with Civitas or tebuconazole or Civitas and propiconazole, occasionally mixing in a phosphite, seeing what kind of disease control we were getting. And we would leave like a sliver of a fairway as a check plot, which we did occasionally see some disease in, not a ton, but it was a very small spot. We never repeated the same spot. But we either went at 8 ounces of Civitas or 4 ounces. 4 ounces earlier in the season, once we got to the heat of the summer, 8 ounces mixed with our other traditional fungicides, and probably saw 95-98% control on most diseases. Okay. Prior to that, we were using just mostly traditional fungicides, whether it was DMIs or strobies or contacts like chlorothalonil on fairways. That's what our program was dominated with.
You've been using it for a few years now. What would you change, or what has changed over time from when you first started using it to now?
Since we've started using Civitas about 3 years ago, we've seen a decreased level of disease on fairways. Our inputs have been slightly less than they were before. Fertility was still similar to what it was before, but from a fungicide standpoint, the inputs have dropped off a little bit, perhaps because we needed a smaller amount of rescue sprays, or I guess trying to actually control anthracnose or whatever disease we might have been battling.
What would you change about your program into the future when using Civitas?
After this season, I think we're going to keep it pretty similar. Civitas mixed with a propiconazole or tebuconazole, occasionally chlorothalonil, or a phosphite when it gets real hot and sticky, and foliar feeding when necessary as well, for the nutritional standpoint of it.
A lot of people report improved turf grass recovery, ball marks, divots. Did you notice any of that during the trial at all on your fairways?
Our fairways have never been better as far as overall having turf across the board. Our divots seem to be recovering a little quicker. Is it due to Civitas or fertility? I'm not 100% sure, but since we've been using it as an integral part of our program, I would say overall the amount of divots has decreased.
Okay, good. How do you think Civitas would most benefit other superintendents in your area?
In my opinion, the biggest benefits of Civitas in our climate here is if you're managing POA and trying to control anthracnose, you're going to have pretty good luck if you add that as part of your fungicide program. Okay. If I were to make a suggestion as to how you would use Civitas as part of your program, I would mix it with most of the traditional fungicides that you're already using if you want to see an increased efficacy as far as disease control, like I've stated, on anthracnose, dollar spot, or brown patch, which are 3 of the most common diseases if you're managing POA, obviously. The take-home message on Civitas for me is if you're looking to control anthracnose on your fairways, and if you've dealt with it on your POA in the past, maybe you'll look at using Civitas in July or early August, because we've seen some fantastic results when we do that.